This is question number 3 on homework 1, problems 2-18. So here we're provided with a bunch of numbers from both income statement and the balance sheet. And first part, what is net income for 2018? So to answer this part, we know we need to construct the income statement starting from the sales. So just find the number from the setup. The sales is right here. So that's my sales. And then the next item is cost of goods sold. That's the here. And then next item is depreciation. I think that's right here. So just copy that number. So now the difference between these three numbers becomes my EBIT. So that's sales minus cost of goods sold and minus the depreciation. And that's my EBIT. And then the next item we know that's interest. So we further find that number from the setup. And then you can see that here Excel automatically gets rid of the comma sign. But that's fine, we can accept. So their difference becomes taxable income, EBT. So that's the EBIT minus interest. And then taxes are simply based on this EBT multiplied by the tax rate. And when we find tax rate is 25%, and then net income is simply the difference between EBT minus the taxes. So we can just type this number back. I think here it doesn't mention anything about the number of decimal places. We can just keep the 0, 1271, 1271. That's the first part, net income, and then part B, operating cash flow. So operating cash flow is, the formula is right here. Operating cash flow equals EBIT plus depreciation minus taxes. So knowing that formula, we just need to find the numbers from the income statement. We start from EBIT, then we add back the depreciation, and then we subtract the taxes. And that's my operating income. So we just type the number back, 10098. And then the final part, cash flow from assets. So here, cash flow from assets equals operating cash flow minus the change in net working capital minus net capital spending. So net working capital is defined to be current assets minus current liabilities. And notice that here we have a delta, which stands for the change. So it's not enough to just calculate 1 year's current assets minus current liabilities. We need to calculate both years and take their difference as the change. And for the net capital spending, we have two ways to calculate. First is based on the change in net fixed assets, and then we add back the depreciation. And the second way is based on the change in gross fixed assets. So we need to find from the setup which information is provided to know which way to use. So if we go back to the setup, we find that the beginning of the year net fixed assets were this. So net fixed assets are provided, so we can use the first approach. So then the rest of the job is simply to calculate for both. So this NWC for this year, by this year we mean the end of the year, so it's current assets. Find the current assets at the end of the year. Current assets is right here, minus current liabilities. It's right here. Just copy the number back, and then Excel will get rid of the comma. That's fine. Just accept. So NWC of last year is simply similarly calculated. We find at the beginning of the year, the current assets is right here. and then minus the current liabilities. That's the net NWC at the beginning of the year or last year. So then we take the change NWC is simply the difference between these two numbers. That's my change. And then we go to NCS calculation, net capital spending. We know that's defined to be the change in net fixed assets. We find that at the end of the year, net fixed assets were this number. So we just copy that number here. And then we find the beginning of the year, the net fixed assets is right here. So, and then don't forget we need to add the depreciation back because that's when we use the net fixed assets. Again, we accept this change. So eventually, our cash flow from assets is simply the OCF minus the change in WC minus the NCS. So you see that actually we have a number in parentheses, so this means it's a negative number, but that's fine. We can, this negative number means that over the year the cash actually flows outside out of the firm rather than into the firm. So if we run it up, we can find this is equals negative 1450. So we need to put a negative sign. A negative answer should be indicated by a minus sign. We put a minus sign 1450. 1450. Just double check 1450. Yes. And then we check our work. Yeah.